Good afternoon, fret friends. A rare day off from Raw Mail, so I have a new guitar on the bench, and this belongs to a friend from church. And here goes, PRS SE, made in Korea at World Music Instrument Company Limited. Beautiful looking thing, lovely blue. We are a 24 fret, so it's an SE 24. Standard fulcrum tremolo on there, floating. And that's it, one volume, one tone, no push pull, three-way selector, very simple, basic but fabulous looking set through, or it's not set neck, it's a glued in neck guitar, beautiful looking thing. Could be an ebony board on there or just very dark rosewood, but these are very well made. So what's it need? Well, it needs setting up. Strings on there, they look like I've been on there about 15 years, and the guitar's not 15 years old, I don't think. But those strings have had it. The frets are all tarnished, they're going to need polishing up, so it definitely needs a set up. It's got a tremolo on it, so that incurs a £10 penalty for setting up the tremolo. So already, minimum on this, we're looking at a £50 setup. If it needs any fret work, we could upgrade it to an intensive setup, which will cost you £80, plus a bit more for the tremolo. And depending on what fret work it needs, if it needs a fret level, we're going to be looking at £135. I don't know what condition the frets are in. I have been across with a fret rocker. There are 3 high ones as the guitar is, but it's always difficult to tell how many need attention with the strings on. So we are going to get the strings off. I've already had it plugged in and played it. Now the strings are really old, so it didn't stay in tune perfectly well, but everything seems okay. The pots are a little bit scratchy. We'll get some switch cleaner in there. We'll clean those up. But what we're going to do is we're going to remove these disgusting guitar strings. We're going to replace them with a set of D'Addario 1046s. I charge a £5 for them. You'll be all pushed together for less than £8 in a music shop nowadays. So, you know, but I charge less because I don't pay £8 for them. In fact, I don't pay £5 for them. I charge £5. But everything is going up. As mentioned in previous videos, my prices have not gone up for 3 years. By the time this video's out, my prices would have gone up, because I've been checking my competitors and some friends who I have in this business, and their prices have all gone up, and I'm actually lagging a little bit behind some of my competitors' prices. So I'm going to have to go and look at my prices again. Well, I would have done by the time this video comes out, like I said. But anyway, these strings have loosened them up somewhat. I'm not going to faff about. I'm getting my fingers all gnarled up by these strings, because they are pretty horrible. Just going to cut them like so. And we're going to bin them, and we're going to have a look at the frets. I'm not going to stop the video at all. We're going to crack on straight through with this one, and I don't mean straight through to the end. I just mean I'm not going to stop the video just to check, just to alter the angle or anything of the camera. I'm just going to change it. You'll see what I mean, because you'll still be here. That string is stuck. So is it stuck? No, we've got it out. These strings are quite disgusting. This is not my client's fault, because he didn't buy this guitar. He's got this guitar from someone else. Right, let's have a look here. These strings seem to be stuck in the tremolo. It can happen, has happened. Here's that one. Just need to free one more. We can get them all, hopefully get them all out in one go. Bear with me a second. Sometimes if you just give it a poke from the top, or get in at the bottom and poke the things in, you'll just free it enough to free it. And that's not going to happen. It doesn't want to come out, so I'm going to take the back plate off. No, we've got it. We've got it right here, look kids. So I should have 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gnarly, horrible strings here. Right, so we're just going to wrap these up and get them in the bin. Do you want to see how gnarly these are? Do you want to look at the colour of some of these? Yeah, pretty gross. A couple of black ones in there. I'll tell you one little secret. This belonged to a bassist before it belonged to my client. I'll say no more about that. Doing any jokes about bassists? I'm not going to say any. Okay, here's one. What do you call a talentless guitarist? Bassist. There you go. There you go. Is that cruel? Maybe a little bit. Anyway, let me turn the camera on the guitar. People have often commented my videos aren't that professional. Yeah, I know that. There's a reason for that. These videos aren't for professional release. These videos are for me and the client. If you get anything out of them, fantastic. I do state on my videos that these are not instructional, nor are they how-to videos. Even though you may garner good information from them, they were never intended to be how-to or instructional. These were always for my records and for the client's records, because I didn't know anyone else videoing anything. I video everything. So there you go, that's the strings off. Now with this, it's PRS. 25-inch scale, we need a different, not straight edge, which I've got one right here. Which is the correct one for a PRS. And I would say that's got a bit of backbow in it. And it has. So we're gonna remove the truss rod cover. Stick the key down there. Oh, that looks a little bit gnarly. Someone's had a go at this truss rod. Let's hope my right tool. I do have a PRS truss rod tool. It's normally the smallest of what I have. Only this one, so let's have a look at this. It's not that one. So let's try a 7. It's a 7mm. Let's loosen this off. So it does look like there's a bit of a chunk missing. But let's not worry about it. That truss rod's never been touched because it's still got the powder coating at this end here, I can see. The fingerboard of this is a little bit gnarly, also that needs cleaning. Okay, we've got that neck dead straight. So what we can do is I'm just going to alter these tuners, get them all to where I need them to be later on for when I restring the guitar. I'm also checking the tuners, see how tight or loose they are. They seem okay. There's a little bit of string left on that one. People sometimes double loop them, I don't know why. Makes it more difficult for me. Anyway, let's just give that, right, we're giving that neck time to settle. So let's see where we are again. Tiny bit of relief in there, so we just need to nip up a little, just slightly tighten the truss rod. So just give it a 1/16, 1/8 of a turn clockwise. So I do see a little bit of fret wear down here. Not enough to worry me, but may need attention. So I might as well do it while we're here. Right, that neck is now dead straight. Very pleased with that. And now we can take a fret rocker. You know what a fret rocker is. 4 precision flat edges, 4 different lengths, because we need to check 3 frets at a time, so we turn it according to how far apart the frets are. The reason we do 3 at a time is if one's rocking, we know it has a high spot. It can always be the middle one rocking. So let's give it a go where we are. That's 1 high. Too high. 3. Very good. 4. Very, very encouraging. We have 4 high frets. So that brings us in on an intensive setup, because on an intensive setup I will sort out 5 frets included in the price. So for £85 I'll be giving this an intensive setup. Oh, it does have a plastic nut on there. That nut is going to need changing, I think. We don't like a plastic nut. I'm surprised that is plastic. Let me see if Johnny wants me to change that. I'm just going to give it a tap, see if I can get it free. Okay, that doesn't seem to want to move. There you go. Straight off. Horrible plastic nut. We're going to change that. So there you go. So we are going to go with an intensive setup and a new nut. So 85. We're going to 85. I'm not going to charge for tremolo. £85. I'll charge £25 for changing the nut. That's 90. That's £110. £5 for strings. And the price of a nut, £115 and the price of a nut. So we're looking at £130 for this. We'll have a new nut on there. We don't want that piece of rubbish on there. So I will go and order a new nut, and I'll crack on with the frets in a short while. This has just been an appraisal video, just to show the client what is needed. And just for my records, there is a little chip just here on the bottom, which I'll show on camera. Right there next to my finger, just to show that that was there when I brought the guitar in. But there you go. So we are going to go with a new nut. I'll sort out all the frets, sort out the high frets, give it a complete setup, sort out all the wiring, proper setup. We'll clean the fingerboard, we'll polish all the frets, give it a proper setup, and £130 all in. Before I attack these frets, a couple of things I'm going to do. Just check the tightness of the machine head nuts that hold the tuners in place, and these are loose lock, as you can see. 10mm spanner is the right one for this. A little small Stumac set I have here. Most of my tools are Stumac. With that lifetime guarantee now, if a tool ever wears out, they'll replace it for nothing. There's no excuse not to buy Stumac. People have always said they're too expensive. Well, they're not expensive if they're for life, are they? So there you go. A couple of other things I'm going to do. I'm going to just check the tuning heads or the machine heads, see if any are too loose. These all feel absolutely fine. If we needed to, we could have tightened those up at the ends, but they are all fine. I'm going to flip the guitar and just check. Screws in, just a small nip, like so. And what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be attacking those frets with the high spots. I'm not levelling a whole lot. I'm going to spot level the ones that are high. As are early, I think there are 4, so we're going to have a look. So I'm going to look at the frets here. A bit of pitting on some of them, but nothing major, so I'm not worried about any of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the fret rocker, and we're going to do these all on a basically as they're needed basis. So if we come across a fret with a high spot, we're going to level it. There's a high spot just there, right on the very end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spot level using a flat file. It's my number 4 cut file, Swiss made by Valorbe. It is super smooth but super sharp, and it has a perfectly flat edge just there. And I've marked the small area that needs attention. It's high just on this last centimetre. Just on that end bit. So with that, I'm not going to take the fingerboard up. I should by rights, but I don't need to because I know how steady my hands are. And I'm just going to steady the file there, and I'm just going to roll over and just follow the radius. Let the file find the radius, and there you go. And I filed the top of that fret. Just going right on the edge now where it's too high. So again, just roll it over, test again, and there you go, and that is that rock taken out. Just check the next fret along, and that is it, that is perfect. Now because we've just flattened the top, I've got to recrown. I'm not going to explain about these files because you know how they work. I've got a Z file or a Z file from StewMac. It's got two cuts, and when I turn it 180 degrees, it's got the opposite cut on the other side, and this will not touch the top of the fret, so it's perfect for building that crown but not removing any height. And I'm just going to, there you go with that, and that is we're out at flat spots now, rebuilt that crown. And I'm just going to finish off with the crowning file. Again, another diamond file by StewMac, and this has the crown built in. It's got the perfect curve on there. I'm just going to go one stroke, just to make sure that that crown is now rebuilt properly. So 3 files to do that. Clean each file after use, ready for the next one, like so. You'll see that there. And now let's just check the fret again. And I can see that it's got a nice, very, very thin line on the top. So it's perfectly crowned and it's now perfectly level. So I'll move on to the next one. High spot right here in these areas, from here to here. So basically this area from half a centimetre from the edge just to the middle there, and we'll just check again. So same thing, taking my spot leveling file, flat edge down, and I'm going to just steady the file with these 2 fingers so I don't cut into the fingerboard. Now I'm going to let the file find the radius, and it will do. It'll find that radius, and we'll just remove the right amount. From there, I've got a nice silver line down there now. It's still high in this area. I know exactly where it's high. Just in this small area here now. There's a little half a centimetre there. Again. That was just this, so let's try that bit again. And that is that fret spot level, so I'm going to hit it with a marker. I'm going to rebuild that crown, so using the 2 files as before. Using the Z file first. This does not touch the top of the fret at all. And that's going to rebuild that crown. We've got a lovely thin line. Let me show you the thin line it's created there. So it's recreated the crown. That's the thin line. That's part of the fret has not been touched. And hitting it again with the crowning file, just on that side and on this side. And that again is perfectly crowned, and it should be perfectly level. So let's have a feel. Level across. Check one forward and one back. And that is it, it's perfectly level. That's good, so we're going to find the high spots again. All we're doing is we're going to remove all of the high spots along the whole length of the neck. That's 2 frets done, I believe. I think there are 2 or 3 more. What I did is I removed the pen from before, just to go and do this again. There and there. So let's get these marked up. And you see how it works. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get the rest of it done off camera. But only 4, 5, 6 frets to do. So there's no point doing the whole lot. I'm quite happy just to spot level the ones that need doing. It keeps the price down also. So I'm going to crack on, get this done off camera, and I will come back once they're all done. And we're going to get everything all ready to polish the frets up. I'll mark down which frets have had work, because I will have to polish some of them up a little bit deeper than normal, but I may just get away with just polishing with steel wool. So let's see how we are shortly. I will come back with an update very soon. So the frets are levelled and recrowned. There's still more work to do on those, but a couple of things I've got to do. I've got to deep clean the fretboard yet, so we're going to spray that with some mineral oil in a short while. You know it as lemon oil. We're going to soak in. I'm going to give a fingerboard a complete scrape along the whole length because there's a lot of crud in there, so I need to get rid of that. Once that's done, we'll spray another coat of oil on there, let that soak in just for cleaning purposes and to just feed the wood a little, get a little bit, not a lot of moisture in there, but just to, you know, just let it get a little bit in there. Just treat wood nicely, stop it cracking in the future. While that's happening, I'll be polishing the frets. But before that, I'm going to just shape the side of a nut. This is a new nut that's going on. It is a Tusk by Graphtec, TUSQ, not made from ivory tusk. It's a man-made derivative of. And the model I'm using on this one is a PT6060-00. It's the perfect width this way, front to back. It is too high and it is too wide, but the nut spacing is perfect. So I'm going to shape the edges of the nut and I'm going to remove some material from the base. Now this Tusk, this Graphtec stuff, is supposedly self-lubricated, which is fantastic. It means we don't need to lubricate this at all. But I'm just going to shape these edges, and what I'll be doing is I'll be taking about 0.5 millimetre from each side just to make the width right. Once that's done, I need to take roughly 2 millimetres from the base. So I'll take 1.5 millimetres from the base. I'll be using a belt sander for that rather than just doing it by hand, because doing it by hand will take me a good while. Take far too long. But what I do need to do is to file these edges. So I'm going to get a much more coarse file and I'm going to remove the same amount of material from each side, and this file will do it. And I'm just going to rough shape it, and I can do it all by hand on the sides. And this file I've got in my hand at the moment will remove more material than the fine file. The fine file I'll use just for final shaping a little bit later on. But just keep checking your work. That's not far off being where I need it to be. So again, and that's probably very close to the width I need. Just making sure I'm getting everything all straight and square. I'm still a little bit over on this side, just see where we are, because I want to get it more or less 90 degrees. And that's looking really, really good. So I'm just going to now take my smooth file. Again, this is my Swiss number 4 cut file. I use this file so much on so many different jobs. Don't really need to do the base, but I'm just going to roll over these edges, these curves, just to round them over, as you do. And that looks fabulous. Same again this side. I'm just going to round over these edges, just to keep that nice smooth curve there. So let's see where we are width wise, and I think we're just about exactly where we need to be. And that width is now perfect. So that fits perfectly into the slot. I like that very, very much. I just need to remove a couple of mil from the base. So I'm going to round over these edges here, just to give it a more aesthetic shape. We've got a shape we want. We need to just round these corners over. And again, we don't need to go gung-ho with anything, we'll take our time. And this just gives us that nice rounded shape on the side of the knot. I'll show it in a second once I've gone over with this smooth file. I love doing this by hand. Some people stick them in a vise. I like to actually handle the nut myself and keep it in my hand while I'm working on it. It just, you know, you get a better feel for it, I think. I'm just rounding over. So I'm going to show you what I've done. So what I've done is, with this, I've just rounded over these corners to give us nice rounded edges. There you see, rather than a bit square and blocky. So if I drop that in to the slot where it's going to go, and that's fantastic. That width is spot on. When it comes to gluing this in, I'm going to go with some epoxy. What I need to do is I'm going to colour the base where the nut is going to sit, because it is just watercolours. It's not stained or coloured or anything. And there is a gap, a very, very, very tiny gap from the edge of the nut into the nut shot. So if I go with a marker and I just colour this in, I don't want to colour the whole lot. I'll drop a fair bit of glue in there because a little bit did chip out. But now you see there's going to be, you're not going to see any of that more. It's the tiniest, tiniest amount anyway. I dare say John wouldn't have noticed, but let's put some there where it's not going to be noticed anyway. And there you go, that's that. And I think if I drop some epoxy in there, we're going to be pretty much bang on with that nut. Like I say, I need to remove, I could put it in as is and reshape the top, but why do that when the slots are already cut? I'd be much better off just taking some off the base, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get the belt sander out. It might take 10 minutes to get the belt sander out and set up, but it's going to be a lot better than firing it for an hour and a half, reshaping it from the top. It's going to take me 2 minutes, unless I take too much off. I hope I don't take too much off, it should be okay. So that looks fabulous. So that will be ready to go on. So I'm going to move back to the job in hand. First we'll give your files a clean before I put them back in the cupboard. And the best way to clean files is not wipe them with a cloth. It's best to attack them with a wire brush like so. And we'll do it over the bin rather than over the guitar. Can't emphasise enough about cleaning tools, especially files, because they get clogged up quite easily. So there you go, they can go back in the drawer. So let's have a look, see where we are. So I've got the pickups covered up with tape, stop us getting any filings of any type in there. I'm going to cover the edge of the guitar body up with just some chamois leather, because I'm going to be spraying the fingerboard with some mineral oil. You know it's lemon oil. I do have it in a spray bottle, but the spray is not really working that good anymore. I don't think I'm going to top this up, I think. Because I'm not getting a squirt, so I like to just, because that's a little bit bent, need to straighten that off a little bit. I do need to top it up. I'll top it up in a minute. There you go. I'm going to saturate this, let it, I'm getting more on there than I need, because I'm going to be scraping the fingerboard with a Stanley blade, just to get rid of all the gum, because this has never been cleaned, I guarantee it. And these boys should know better. These are my friends from church, and they don't clean the guitars as much as they all do. In fact, they don't clean the guitars, to be honest. So there you go there. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking a Stanley blade and I'm going to be scraping the fingerboard, getting rid of all the crud that's on there. There you go. regular Stanley blade, nothing strange. I'm just going to scrape between the frets, all of them, but the reason I put excess oil on is the oil will remain, but we'll get all the crud off. Let's have a look down here, because I guarantee this has never been done on this guitar. I know because of all the crud that's on there, and I know the person or the people, the person that's owned it and the person that owns it now. I'm not blaming the person that owns it now because he's only just got the guitar. So, but I do know there's crud. It is. There you go. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about that black stuff there. Look, the horrible crud on there. So I'm going to crack on, get this done off camera. I'm going to get myself some tissue so I can clean up as I go along. I'm going to get this all done. Once it's done, I'll spray again and I'll come in and polish the frets. And when I'm ready to polish the frets, I'll bring you back in and we'll take it from there. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about crud on the fingerboard, and that is not all of it, that is just some of it. And yeah, this is what happens when you don't take care of your guitars. That's just one wipe, look at that. If you don't clean your fingerboard, fretboard, before you bring it here, I've got to do it. I should charge you extra for this, because look at it. Wow. And nobody likes doing this job. No guitar tech I know enjoys doing this job. I've had some good, but this is not, I mean this is nowhere near as bad as some of them I've had in. But look at that. It's got to the point where sometimes we have to refuse. I've had something that bad. I think there's no way I'm touching that without gloves. I'm not even done the gloves. This is not bad, but much worse than this in. But there you go, so bear with me guys, I'll be back with an update shortly. Again, I've moved on, I'll let you know what I have done. So, scrape the fingerboard with a Stanley blade. I've re-oiled the fingerboard, I've cleaned it with steel wool also, between each fret. I've polished the frets with steel wool, and I'm just doing the final wipe of the fingerboard. I've already wiped one part, one side. We've already gone on one run, and now I'm doing the final wipe just with this here. And this is, I've removed all the crud and what have you, and you're going to see now I've polished everything up, all the unscour and badness that collects on the fingerboard. I recommend you clean your fingerboard. If you're a heavy player, wipe your fingerboard down every time you play your guitar, but take your strings off and oil your fingerboard every 6 months if you're a heavy player, and get all the crud off. Don't let it build up. Just keep wiping your guitar down every time. I know so many guitar players, and I know hardly any of them wipe their guitars down. Me myself, I'm guilty of it myself, but I've got a lot of guitars, so I don't heavy play any one guitar. I play all my guitars, you see, and I use different ones on different days. But there you go, look at that. So again, that's the second wipe. So first wipe, second wipe. We'll see if we can still use this. I'm sure we can in some, because we'll put that bit on there, that bit on there. And we'll just fold it over, we'll get that bit there, bring that over. We'll bring that bit there, and we'll bring this bit over. And that'll give me another clean bit here, look, to just go one more time. And this is cleaning up the fingerboard and the frets at the same time. And it looks magnificent now. And what we now know is the frets are level, they're all crowned, and they're all polished. And that's a lot quicker. It might take me a couple of hours, but it's still quicker than doing it levelling the whole lot, and it's a lot less expensive. It's saving 50 quid, because otherwise it'd have been 135 quid just for the fret level if I'd done all of them together. But this is having a new nut also, so there's an extra charge for that, plus a new set of strings. So there you go, that's that. I think there's a set of strings in there, that's why I'm not charging for strings. I'll have to have a look. Whatever, it could be £5 for a set of strings. So that is all ready now for the new nut. Like I say, I've done the edges of the nut, so I've got the width right. I've coloured in the nut shelf, but what I need to do is I need to remove some from the base of the nut, because that nut is easily 1.5mm too high. But this Graphtec nut is a million times better than this piece of plastic junk they put on them. Horrible, that's going in bin. These are fantastic. So there you go with that. So I'll crack on, do some more things, and got to give that headstock a wipe. The guitar will get a clean also. So I'm just going to slightly buff up the headstock. I've cleaned it with oil, of all things. I think the oil we use on here, if you've got some on a rag, it's fantastic cleaner. It's just a matter of wiping it all off. I'm going to get these string holes all lined up. So they pretty much are. Which is fantastic there. Also wipe down the guitar top. Again, I'll get some cleaner on this later. Got some good guitar cleaner, I've had it for years. I've done Dunlop 65 stuff, which I love. I always want to try the guitar, is it Guitar Nomad? I always want to try their stuff, but my Dunlop stuff's not run out. So why swap when I've still got some stuff in stock? Look at this guitar now, that's going to be fantastic. So we can now remove the tape, because there's no iron filings knocking about anywhere. My wife will be shouting at me in a moment, it'll nearly be dinner time. It is actually Sunday. I always had a thing where I never ever work Sundays. Not just because I'm a Christian, it's just good to have that rest day, but because I didn't work yesterday, Saturday, I'm taking today as my rest day. Sorry, I took yesterday as my rest day, so I'm working today. No, I can work when I want, at the end of the day. This is still the Lord's Day, Sunday, but you know. So, these things away. I've got into the habit of always putting my tools away once I've used them. It's just great to have a tidy workshop. Now I've got it all rearranged and it's relatively tidy all of the time. It makes work so much easier. Good habits, you see. I can show how I don't need that anymore. I get through a lot of steel wool. So they're my PRS things. So I've got a few more things to do on this. Put my scissors away, they're not loaded. I'm not going to get my power tools out today, so I'll finish the nut off tomorrow. So I think I'm going to crack a can. I'm going to get a glass of beer, and I'm going to call it a day today. It is Sunday. I've done a couple of guitars. I think this one can now wait till tomorrow. I'm going to take a picture from our friend Jono, who this guitar belongs to. Brother in Christ, friend from church. I've got another friend from church coming anytime now, drop him in acoustic off he wants setting up. So I do all the church guitars obviously, but yeah, what a lovely guitar this. I wouldn't mind one of these myself, to be honest with you. That's great. It needs a proper clean. Still tape residue and stuff on there I need to get off yet. I'm going to give it a good proper polish tomorrow, but that will be enough for me for today. So what we've done today is we've cleared the nut shelf, we've reshaped the new nut at the sides. I've got a little bit more shaping to do on the side because that's a little bit 90 degrees. We don't want it 90 degrees, we want it arcing over a little bit. But we'll get this all filed down tomorrow and get it all glued in. Get some new strings in it, whatever. But yeah, what a fantastic looking guitar this is. Looks really, really good. So we'll do it justice, get it all right. Fingerboard looks fantastic now, actually. But that's it for today. So see you soon. So my parts drawer, I found the perfect nut for this guitar. So I've changed the nut I was going with because the other one I had to cut and shape. This one I didn't. It's the PT6643, which is a direct replacement for a PRS nut. So I've got one in, and I've not had to cut it or anything. I've just glued it in, and I will need to reshape the top because it's a lot higher than it needs to be, but that is perfect. I'll just get a little bit of a scrape on there because there's a little bit of excess glue. But I used super glue gel to glue it into place, which is my now preferred glue for doing the job. Just a couple of dobs here and there. Great stuff. It comes in a brilliant dispenser and it doesn't clag up. And there you go, that's the stuff. And you give it a little squeeze and it just pops out at the end there. It doesn't clog up. I've had this bottle for over a year. It's fantastic. This is the same glue I use for gluing in frets when I refret a guitar. So I'm really happy with that. So the nut is in. Brand new one. The spacing's already right. It fits the shelf perfectly. What I have just done while the camera's been off is I have polished the guitar body. Again, using something I've had in my parts drawer for a long time. Carnauba wax from the Dunlop stuff. This stuff here. That stuff. Bought that years ago and I still use it for cleaning guitars. It's a matter of getting it on the body, let it dry up, keep wiping it off till it's almost dry. And once it's dry, buff it with a super soft gubbins like this. And it brings it up to a beautiful shine. I've got another guitar to polish it a bit later, but that's this one. Looking fantastic. I'm ready to put strings on. A couple of things I've got to do. I've got to take the cavity plates off. Got to get some switch cleaner in behind these pots because they are a little bit scratchy. But the fingerboard and frets are all done. New nut is on there, so we can get the strings on there now. So how good is that? Now once the strings are on, I'm going to have to obviously cut the nut slots. So we're not finished or we're not out of the woods yet, but yeah, that's the correct nut for a PRS. PT6643. People often ask me what they are. Now I normally forget, but now I've remembered that number, so we're good there. So that's it. I'm going to crack on, do a little bit more. See you in a bit. While I have the guitar in the correct position, I may as well spray some switch cleaner into the pots, and I use Service All Super 10. Always have done. I think it's my second tin of this in what? 5 or 6 years. Last yonks. It's just a matter of getting a good squirt in there, inside the pot. Flip over. And we'll give these a little squeeze back and forth. And that should stop the pot scratching. So something I've done off camera is, not looking very good on the intonation this. So I might have an intonation problem. What I've done is I've blocked off the tremolo, just using some of my own business cards underneath, just to get the tremolo set perfectly horizontal. You can't see, you can see there. To get the tremolo set perfectly horizontal to the body, and I've tightened up the screws, the springs, these claw screws here. Just to bring that nice and tight. We're going to set the tremolo up as it is in that position. Now when it comes to removing these cards, it's going to spring back, everything's going to go sharp, but what we'll do is we'll loosen those claw screws again until that's level, and everything should be in tune. So some things I've still got to do. I've got to set the height of the strings on the nuts. I've got to cut the nut slots, but I wanted everything set up from here. So we've got the tuner plugged in. So we're close to tuning there, but I still need to stretch the strings in. But what I need to do is I just want to check the setup as things are right now, because I'm going to set everything high, because I've got to cut the nut slots lower. So I'm going to set everything high at the 12th fret. I'm also going to set the radius on the saddles, and we're going to have a look at the intonation. Looks like we may have an intonation problem. I don't know, we'll see. But let's just see where we are regarding the action. That looks high anyway. We need to get about 0.7 0.07 this side and 0.06 on the bass on the treble side. We're at 0.06 on the. We need to bring that up a little bit on the treble side because we're not high enough with the nut slots being so high. So I'm going to slightly alter where we are on the bridge, what have you. And also stretch the strings in. So give me a few minutes and we'll crack on and get everything done. Just be able to notice, I need to sort my phone out. Right. I'll come back with an update shortly, guys. So let me take you through what we are going to do. I do have a little toolkit that came with the guitar. So I'm going to take the Allen wrench out of here because this is what I need to set the height of the saddles. And we are a little bit low on the two E's, so we're going to bring these saddles up. And this should be the correct, it is, the correct Allen wrench. I'm going to bring these up just a little because I want to bring the action a little bit higher than it ought to be on both sides. I'm going to set the tremolo up for tremolo use. And I'm going to assume the radius on this is around about 14 inches. I don't know if it is or not, but that's what I'm going to set it at. Right, just messaging a guy, I've just bought some pickups. You notice my phone is connected to my Spark 40, which it shouldn't be. Right, so let me just check where we are with these outer strings. Right, we are over 2 mil on that side and we are 1.75 on the treble side. That is good, that is higher than I need to be. And I'm doing that for a reason. I'm doing that because I'm going to set everything slightly high because I've got a couple of nut slots. So I'm happy about that. Going to bring everything else higher than it needs to be. Slightly. I'm going to set the radius where we're at. Because once I've cut the nut slots, everything should lower down enough to be perfect. I will check radius. It's going to be 12 or 14, surely. It's not going to be as low as 10, not on a PRS. So we've brought those up. Everything will be sharp now. Okay, I'm going to take a 12-inch radius gauge. Like so, I'm just going to have a little look and see where we are. 12 has to be about right, yeah, surely. Looks if you get this in the right place. Let's have a look, see where we are. 12, it's tighter than a 12, is it a 10? Is it 10-inch radius? Wow. Didn't think it'd be that tight. Let's have a look. We are a 10-inch radius, so let's have a look, see where we are here. Okay, I've hit that right on the head. I've just perfectly formed a 10-inch radius by not even using this piece of kit, just by experience and eye. I've perfectly matched that radius, so I don't need to change anything on there. So let's have a little tune. Could go a bit short because the nut is set too high, the nut slots, but that feels pretty good. Yep, sounds nice, plays nice. So that's pretty good. So we're going to check things like the intonation. He's fine. A sharp, so we do need to move from saddle. So I'm going to do it laying down. Now everything is going to be slightly flatter laying down, always is. But that's just what it is. It's no big deal. We can still set the intonation. We can check it all a little bit later when we've got the guitar in the playing position. But what I want to do is I just want to determine that everything is where we need it to be. So let's have a look at the amount of relief in the neck first. Now I had it set dead straight, so this should be probably going to be a little bit too much in there. I'm looking for 0.2, 0.25 between the 6th and 7th fret, or between the 5th and 7th fret, so 6th fret area. Let me get a measure. I'm going to go 0.2 millimeters. I'm going to get quite low for Jono because we're using this guitar in church. So I need a nice low action so it's easy to play. Unfortunately, and it's a blessing to everyone, John doesn't sing. And trust me, you don't want him singing in church. You don't want him singing anyway. He'll say that himself. He's not got the greatest voice, but he's a good guitarist, a very good guitarist. I'm just going to slightly tighten this up. .25" scale on this. That looks pretty good. That looks really good to me. That's exactly where I want it, relief wise. So I'm happy with that. Check the action again. 0.08 on the bass side, 0.07 on the treble side. That in English is nearly 2 millimeters on the bass side and 1.75 millimeters on the treble side. I've got used to working both of these string gauges, so I know which I need to do in American Imperial or in metric English. So that's sounding pretty good, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to stretch the strings in, set the intonation, come back and we'll get this nut cut. So I'm going to do intonation wise. We notice we're a little bit sharp on the A string. If we're sharp, we need to move this saddle towards the right. Sharp and right are 5 letters. If it was flat, we'd move it left. Flat and left are 4 letters. So we always know which way to move it. So if you're sharp at the 12th fret, move the saddle to the right, both 5 letters. If you're flat at the 12th fret, move the saddle to the left. That's as you look at it from this angle. It's the way I have always remembered. So I'm going to crack on with that, get the intonation set. Once that's done, we'll come back and we'll cut these nut slots. We can get the guitar finished. Okay guys, the biggest job that if it goes wrong, it's going to cost you time, money. That is cutting nut slots. I do have a tool I bought from Stumac to stop me going too deep on the nut slots, but I don't know how to set it up and I've never looked. And I'm not going to look now, but what I am going to do is I'm going to cut these nut slots, and with everything else set up on the guitar, I've set the radius on the saddles, I've set the intonation, I've set the action at the 12th fret, and I've set the amount of relief in the neck. The last thing you do is you cut the nut slots. Now I've set the action high at the 12th fret. I normally go 1.5 millimeters on the treble side, 1.75 millimeters on the bass side. I've actually gone above that by 1/4 mil. I've got 1.75 on the treble side and 2 millimeters on the bass side. That's the height from the top of the 12th fret to the bottom of the string. The reason I've done that is I need to remove material from all of these slots to bring these strings lower. And I have a measurement that I use. And it's on the bass side, it's 0.3 millimeters, and on the treble side, it's 0.2 millimeters. And I get those measurements by way of a feeler gauge, which you've probably seen before. And I'm just going to measure the gap from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string, and I've got to cut that slot down, so I've got a 0.3 gap there. And for this, I use my Hosco fret slot files. I have the 11 file set. They're made of stainless steel and they cut a perfect U shape or a perfect semicircle. Great piece of kit. They were expensive, reassuringly so, but these have lasted me so far for years and will last me for many more years. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this slot, and this is the size of the string. Well, I'm actually using a 46. I'm cutting the nut for a 1046 set, even though there's a set of 942s on here. And I'm not going to go mental, because if I do go too deep, I'll be replacing the nut, and I don't have a replacement nut. It's the last one in stock. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the slots. And I know I've cut that deeper because the string is detuned. And I'm going to keep measuring. Well, that's very, very close to where I need it to be, so I'm just going to tidy up this slot. Very gentle, not pressing too hard, just letting the slot find itself and let the file find itself and to level off. And that feels pretty good. And let me go with, and the string is ringing true. There's no sitar-like sound. It means the slot is cut correctly because I angled it slightly down at the back end. So we're using probably the front half of a nut is where the string is sat. And we are going to measure. That's perfect. What we're going to do with the next ones is we're going to graduate down to 0.2. So this is 0.3. We'll go 0.28, 0.26, 0.24, 0.22, 0.2. They're millimeters. If I press down at the 3rd fret where you normally do, you probably just get a sliver of paper in this gap. And that's what you want. Probably a bit more than a sliver in there, but this will be enough for us not to note sharp. Could go a little bit lower if we wanted to. I'm quite happy with that. Feeler gauge is your friend. Down at the 3rd, and there you go. We've got the tiniest gap there. That's fantastic. It's where we need to be. So this one we're going to go 0.28. So we're going to want more of a buzz on this one. Like I say, I'm cutting this for a 1046 set. Always clean the file after use if you really wanted to, which I normally do. Get yourself a wire brush and clean your files properly. They'll stay sharp for many more years when you take care of your tools. Just trying to blow it to the packet, get the file back in. The file's back in. Next one, I've got a 36 for the, I know it's not a 36 string, it's a 32, but 0.36. Always cut your nut slots for a 10 set on a PRS. So we'll pull the string over and we'll cut again. Don't go gung-ho. Keep eyeballing. Check where you are, check your progress. That looks to be pretty close. Go with the 0.03 again. Only just ringing, so we're still a little bit high. We'll go a little bit more. These nuts cut really well, these tusk nuts or these Graphtec nuts. Nice buzz on there. Press at the 3rd, down at the 3rd, and we are just off the fret there. That is fantastic. So we are very happy with where that is. Again, clean the file. Can you see on here where I'm cleaning it? Black lines appearing where I clean the file. Again, my brush, give it a good clean. So we're looking for 0.24 millimeters on the D string. This one back in its pack. Next one, the 26. If we're using a 10 set, we're just going to measure. We need to be about 0.26 on that one, so I'm going to get a 0.25 millimeter feeler gauge. See where we are with the A string. Not quite touching it, so we've still got a fair way to go on this one. So again, pull it over. Closest we've got to a 0.026 is a 0.028. So a nice, this is a sharp file, this one. Drop in, drop back in, see where we are. Got a little bit of a ring to it, so that slot may not be cut perfectly as I need it to be. So we've got the depth right straight away. We are just going to give it a bit of a tickle. And that should be exactly where I need it to be. That's beautiful. I know that's where I want it to be. I can tell. Again, clean. 3 more strings to go. These knots do cut really well. You don't have to be exactly your measurements. I do cut on the conservative side. I cut a little bit higher than you actually need to go. You could go a little bit lower. So if you do cut a little bit low, it's no great shakes. Pressing this one down, that is more or less touching the string. So we wouldn't want to go any lower than we have done. So coming from the other side, let's just check where we are at 0.25. That's probably closer to 0.22 there. We want the same with the G string. I want to go about 0.24 with this one. So now we don't have a 17 because we are cutting for a 1046 set. Remember, I do have a 16, but this string will be a 14 anyway. So I'm going to go with a 16. Again, files are sharp, so don't go mental. Just a few strokes, because if you go too low, you're putting a new knot on there. That's probably pretty close to where I need it to be. Just by pressing down to a third, I can see there's the tiniest gap, so that is exactly where I need it to be. That's perfect. So I'm going to pull it back and I'm just going to tidy up the slot slightly at an angle. That's beautiful. So I'm going to swap down now to a 0.2 millimeter feeler gauge for the E and the B string. Not going to quite go as low as 0.2, but somewhere close. So we've got the G string done again. Clean the file. At the time I bought these, 150, 125 pounds I think they cost me. I thought that's really expensive. But now, having had them for so many years, they're not expensive at all. So these last two, the 13 and the 10, I have in a string back holder. That's to stop them going all wibbly wobbly when you cut the slots. Now these ones have got to be really careful because this makes them much easier to be too heavy-handed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look, see where I need to be. Got quite a long way to go on that one, but I'm going to take my time because these files are very sharp. So we're not going to go mental, we're going to cut and measure, cut, feel, measure. Still not quite low enough. That's low enough, I can tell by looking at it. That is perfect. I'm just gonna give it just one little amount, and I'm just gonna cut down at the back. The last one. So we're going to clean this one. Again, sometimes I swap these over in the holder because I use one side too much. So we're going with the last one, the 10. We're just going to have one measure again. Don't want to cut too deep with this. Fair ways to go. You may think they're not cutting, but trust me, they are cutting. Check where we're at the third. That is just a tiny bit above. That's perfect. I could still go a bit more with that, but why would you want to go too far? Just going to cut down at the angle. And that, for me guys, is how you cut the nut slots on a new nut. Just seeing where that is, and that is perfect. So that's the nut slots cut exactly where I need them to be. Very happy with that. Nice low action above the first fret. So we'll bring it back into the playing position. You can't see a lot, you have to take my word for it. Let me zoom out as much as I can and you'll be able to see where I am. There you go. Bring it back to pitch. I have the tremolo blocked off, so that is to pitch. I'm just going to check the string height, exactly where I need to be, 0.07 and 0.06. That's exactly where I'd like to be. May just raise it ever so slightly on the low E, It's a tiny bit lower than I'd like, but if it's playing without buzzing, I'll be quite happy with where that is. So let me get my tools cleaned up, put away, and we'll come back, we'll get the back plates back on, and we will check everything again. We'll stretch the guitar strings in once more, we'll get the tremolo set, and we will be good to go. Okay, I've zoomed right out for this part of the process, which is setting up the tremolo, which I've already set up. We set it up just on the 2 outside screws, or they act as a fulcrum type tremolo, or the pivots. We can, if we so desire, drop the other ones down just as low if we want to, or leave them a little bit higher. It makes no difference. On a Fender type, you'd leave them higher. On a PRS, I'm inclined to just drop these close to where the 2 outside ones are. It makes no difference because your 2 outside screws act as the pivot posts. So what we're going to do is, with the business card still under the bridge, I'm going to see if you can see. We're probably not going to see from the angle I'm going to show you, but the business card is still under the bridge, making that bridge perfectly level with the body of the guitar. The 2 outside screws are the pivots. I've not touched them under tension. They are set for the height of the bridge. The other 4 are very, very slightly higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure the guitar's in tune again. This is a little bit sharper. I don't know why. Maybe because I altered them screws. No matter. I have played this guitar plugged in. Plays beautiful. 9s, I've got chosen strings on this are 9s. I want to put 9s on. I'd have put 10s on myself. I don't like putting light strings on a tremolo myself, and especially humbuckers. I like to have heavier strings. I've actually got 1252s on my Hamer twin humbucker guitar. So let's see where we are. So to now set the tremolo in tune, what we do is, it's really simple. We remove the business cards. This is why I've zoomed out, so you can see everything. Remove the business cards. Now, I had quite a few in there. Fretboard business cards, of course. Why would I use anyone else's? The tremolo is now pulled back. See there? So everything will now be super sharp. So what we need to do now is we need to loosen these 2 claw springs until the tremolo is level, or until the A string drops back in tune. And once it does, everything else should drop back in tune, because the tremolo should be in the position it was when we set it up with the business cards underneath. And all we're going to do is we're going to loosen these screws until the tremolo is in the position it was in. We're still a bit of an A sharp there, so we're going to drop it down. And I wonder if I could set this up so I can show you what I'm doing. Still A sharp. And all I'm doing is loosening these 2 screws, look. So I get that A string tuned. And I'm trying to do them both the same amount. So now you know what I'm doing. I can do it from behind. You know what I'm doing now. You know which 2 screws I'm altering. That A is just about in tune. Check the top E. Everything's just a little bit flat, so we're going to just tighten up on the treble side, tighten it a little on the bass side, and let's have another go. A tiny bit sharp, so we've gone a little bit too far. Let's see where we are now. Too sharp, gone the wrong way. Just very, very fine adjustments. Very, very close. A little bit flat on the treble side, a little bit sharp on the bass side. Let's try there. Micro adjustments. We can just change very much on the tuners. Let's have a look there. Sharp on the A still. Go as close as we can. It's not an exact science. It's the same. I do the same. We use the same procedure on Floyd Rose guitars. So now we're that close, I'm just gonna alter on the regular tuners. Because we're so close, we should be able to get this. So right this way. Can be a little bit finicky. Just take your time. You can't see how much I've got a rack tuner on that side of the bench. It's a stroke tuner, so it's very accurate. And we are now in tune. We have the tremolo set perfectly level with the guitar body. We are in tune, we've got the radius set, we've got the intonation right. So that's it. All that remains for me to do now is to get the cavities back on the back there, and the guitar is all but finished. And here we are, fret friends, we are all done with this one, and it is a PRS SE Custom 24, not a regular 24, a Custom 24. I don't know why it's custom, not really that bothered, but there you go, what a beautiful thing, look at it. Glued in neck. Lovely zebra pickups, nice tremolo, we've set that level, we've given it a fret level, recrowned the frets, polished them, installed a new nut for the Graphtec, well it's a Graphtec nut for those, the aficionados of you. The part number for that is I believe PT6643, Graphtec nut, that is on beautifully. We had to do a bit of reshaping on there, and we've given it a setup. We also squirted some switch cleaner in the pots. So everything is working fantastic. Three-way, volume, tone, all good. Fabulous looking thing. It's got the crescent moon type inlays on there. We've also scraped the fingerboard, given that a clean, complete setup. £125, all done. It belongs to a friend of mine at church. He'll be picking this up either tonight or tomorrow, but that is it. It is all done. So I just need to remind you, oh, we also restrung a set of 942s. There's the gubbins that belong in the box, and there's the, here you go, PT6643 is the nut we put on there. It's a part number. So these need to, well, that needs to go in the bin, that needs to go in the bin, that needs to go back in the case, and the guitar is ready to go. So before we go, just need to remind you of our website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor. I am your fret friend. And until next time, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I will see you in the next one.